Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Recently UPSC conducted Mains 2026. You may have gone through the question papers also, and in GS3 paper environment section 2 questions were asked, mostly from the contemporary development. They were conveying biodiversity framework, and the other question was related to urban cities in India facing the challenge of solid waste management. So this is the way we should be prepared for the mains examination for, we can say that, the current developments, contemporary developments. In these weekly current affairs sessions, we are trying to cover the most important developments from prelims as well as mains perspective. In today's session, in last 1 week, whatever the environment related topics or they were in news, we are going to cover here for our both mains and prelims related, we can say that, syllabus. Now first we will discuss the topic related to Satkosia Tiger Reserve. Why it was in news? Yes, Odisha government has set up one high level panel for inquiring into the allegations of forced village relocations from Satkosia Tiger Reserve. That's why it is in news. Now from two important perspective, one from mains perspective it is important. Why? Because it is resulting into, we can say that, conflict, environment protection versus, we can say that, the tribal people and their livelihood and their rights over the forest produce, we can say that, the ancestral rights. So Forest Rights Act 2006 and we can say that Wildlife Protection Act, they are in conflict. Relocation of, we can say, villagers outside the tiger reserve has been continuously in news. Last year there was Supreme Court directive also which created a lot of, we can say that, media uproar during that time period. So it is going to be always in news. And second is prelims related, we can say that, Satkosia Tiger Reserve and its basics for your prelims examination. Let's first talk about the Satkosia Tiger Reserve and its basics. We can say that, what is this particular tiger reserve? Yes, its location. Yes, it is located where? It is located in Odisha, we can say that, right. Second important aspect, it is located in Eastern Ghats where Mahanadi river is forming the gorge. It is called as Satkosia Gorge. It is basically cutting, Mahanadi river is cutting that Eastern Ghats, and then thereafter it will enter into the plains region of Odisha. That is, we can say that, gorge. We know that what is gorge or V-shaped valleys, and we can say canyons, the types of, we can say that, valleys, river valleys, right. So in gorge what we know that there are, we can say that, vertical walls, and through that river is flowing. Why? Because these rocks are, we can say that, hard rocks, and they are difficult to erode by the river. That's why it will form gorge, and river will, let's say, pass through the narrow channel. You can see that photograph is there. For around 22 kilometers the river is making that beautiful gorge here called as Satkosia Gorge. Now it was declared as a tiger reserve in 2007, and initially there were around, we can say that, 12 tigers. Initially there were tigers, but in the latest, we can say that, census, every 4 years there is census for tigers, right, in India. Latest one is 2022, and in that we can say that 0 tigers were let's say counted from that Satkosia Tiger Reserve. So concern related to the tiger as Satkosia Tiger Reserve as tiger habitat has also, we can say, been raised. Now composition, 2 adjoining protected areas, Satkosia Gorge Wildlife Sanctuary is there and Baisipalli Wildlife Sanctuary. Together the area of, we can say that, tiger reserve is there. Now geographic importance, it is transition zone between Chota Nagpur Plateau and, we can say that, Deccan Plateau, and it is having the vegetation moist deciduous, that particular kind of ecoregion is there. Okay, remember the Odisha state and Satkosia Gorge. Now the second important aspect you should remember is related to what kind of species or biodiversity is there. Forest type, moist deciduous forest, dry deciduous forest, and we can say that sal forest of peninsular India. Now the important species is, we can say that, gharial, freshwater crocodile that we have, it is critically endangered, IUCN status, and magar crocodile is also found, we can say that. The gharial has been, we can say, reintroduced in Satkosia Wildlife Sanctuary, that particular gorge area, and other, we can say that, of course, tiger is there, leopard and other wildlife is there. Ecosystem highlight, yes, basics we have just now talked about that, and yes, you should know that this particular habitat is important as a part of Eastern Ghats. Now in terms of tiger conservation framework in India, again basics important from prelims perspective. Now tiger reserves in India are declared under Project Tiger that was initiated in 1973. It aims to maintain viable tiger population and conserve tiger habitats. Now this particular initiative, initially in 1973, the number of tiger reserve, 9 tiger reserve were notified initially, and at present around 57 to 58 tiger reserves, they are, we can say that, notified. Basically tiger reserve is notified mostly by the state government after the approval from NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority. Now what is that particular body? It is a statutory body created under Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which was amended in 2006 for creation of this body in 2007. This is statutory body, remember this. And we should know that this particular body is responsible for implementation of Project Tiger in India. Also you should know that in 2023 Project Tiger and Project Elephant has been merged, and now it is Project Tiger and Elephant under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now how tiger reserve structure is there? We can say that 2 concentric circles we can draw like this, the core area and buffer zone or buffer area, right? So core area, restricted human activities, and we can say that buffer area is, we can say that, eco development and sustainable livelihoods are ensured there, and compatible human activities, especially let's say those which are living on the fringes, for them we can say that the basic activities are allowed. And also you should know that wildlife safari and ecotourism is allowed in the buffer zone, we can say that. This is the way tiger reserves are maintained in India under Tiger, we can say that, Project Tiger. Now regarding the conservation versus rights, this particular dialogue. So either in GS3 paper environment or GS4 paper environmental ethics, or we can say that the case studies that are asked, right? This year also you can see that Mains 2026 there was one question. In theory part they introduced the case studies part, right? The theory part they asked one question that the project is being implemented and that project is going to displace the forest dwellers. Okay. Forest people, what you will do, how you will, we can say that, what kind of challenges you will face as a district magistrate of that particular district. This is the way they are asking question now, the in theory part also. So conservation versus rights. Okay, the critical tiger habitat under Wildlife Protection Act, conservation objectives are there, securing the habitat, adequate prey base should be there, and low disturbance. This is part of, we can say that, conservation aspect. But on the other side we can say that rights. So Forest Rights Act 2006 ensures, recognizes rights of scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers, and recognition and settlements of forest rights must be preceding the relocation. This is a very important aspect. If suppose the relocation is supposed to happen outside that particular tiger reserve, then first of all the forest rights of the people must be settled. That means here the procedural justice must be ensured, community rights must be ensured, along with fair compensation and rehabilitation. And once they are rehabilitated, then livelihood restoration should be also ensured. Why? These forest dwellers and tribal people, they are dependent on that particular forest, and because of that, if relocation is supposed to be taken place, then their livelihood, the other, we can say, alternate livelihood opportunities should be also ensured. Then only the effective rehabilitation takes place. This is the way, the basics from the mains perspective you should know. Now here in this particular Satkosia Gorge, lessons, what we can learn, lessons for the tiger conservation. First of all, habitat protection should be ensured, habitat integrity, prey recovery, and we can say that tiger recovery. Second, strong anti-poaching measures should be ensured. You can see that latest tiger census, there are, we can say that, 0 tigers there. Somehow it raises concern because somehow tigers are not finding that particular habitat as a favorable habitat. Somehow there must be some kind of problems related to poaching, and we can say that the prey base, prey recoveries, this must be ensured. Scientific monitoring should be there, camera traps, and we can say prey base assessments. Landscape connectivity should be there, tiger corridors should be ensured or protected. Community should be ensure community participation in, we can say that, protection of that particular habitat, fair and lawful relocation. This is the way we should talk about. We can say that whenever there is problem related to conservation versus rights, we should be balancing. ठीक है, इसी वजह से इस बार जो है एथिक्स में भी बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन आए थे, एंड दैट्स व्हाई बैलेंस अप्रोच, हाउ वी कैन बैलेंस दैट, एंड द साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट ऑफ ऑल दैट टाइगर हैबिटेट शुड बी एंश्योर्ड. नाउ व्हाट शुड बी आंसर टू दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन? Yes, with reference to Satkosia Tiger Reserve, consider the following statements. Yes, it is located in Odisha along the Mahanadi River Gorge. Satkosia Gorge we call it. Yes, this is correct. It comprises of Satkosia Gorge Wildlife Sanctuary and Vaisipalli Wildlife Sanctuary. This is also true. It lies a transitional biogeographical zone between Chota Nagpur Plateau and Deccan Plateau. This is also true. Then it recorded 0 tigers in 2022 All India Tiger Estimation. This is also true. We can say all 4D is the correct answer for this. Okay, so we can expect such kind of question in prelims examination. Be prepared. Now, this particular news, yes, Hara Mangrove Forest. Why it was in news? Yes, this is located. Hara Mangrove Forest is UNESCO World Heritage Site, and this is located near, we can say, Strait of Hormuz on Qeshm Island of Iran. Okay, located near Strait of Hormuz, Persian Gulf connected to Gulf of Oman. On this side we have Gulf of, we can say that, Oman. Now this particular island is very unique in terms of that particular mangrove forest. At the same time, Qeshm Island is, we can say that, important for Iran as oil facilities are located there. So recently there was oil spill. Okay, recently there was oil spill. Oil spill related question was asked in environment section mains 2 years back. Okay, oil spills, how it affects the marine environment, aquatic ecosystems. That's why again a kind of case study you can use it in your answer, right? So 160 kilometer oil slick has covered that particular area, threatens Hara Mangrove Forest, UNESCO World, UNESCO Biosphere Reserve is, we can say that particular area. Now let's talk about the mangroves or mangrove forest of that particular area. Yes, location Qeshm Island, dominant species is grey mangrove. Okay, you need not to remember the species name. Designation UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, not World Heritage Site, sorry. Okay, Biosphere Reserve is there. Ecological importance, yes, it is nursery habitat for fish, shrimp, crabs, important habitat for migratory birds also, coastal buffer, then significant blue carbon ecosystem. We'll talk that about, we can say, mangroves in general. We can expect question about mangrove forest, their significance, what are the threats in India, what is the mangrove forest distribution, what threats they are facing. Okay, so unique kind of adaptation that particular this species has been done. Mangrove forest, pneumatophores are there, breathing roots we call them, facilitating gas exchange, oxygen poor sediments, salt regulation, specialized mechanism enables survival in highly saline environment. Basically salt glands are there in the leaf, help excrete the excess salt content. In addition to this, there are, we can say that, other adaptations, like for example stilt roots are there. They provide anchorage in soft unstable, we can say that, sediments. Then along with that, vivipary, seeds germinate while attached to the parent plant. It is important. Why? Because these seeds cannot germinate in that highly saline environment, and that is adverse condition for the germination of seeds. So seeds are germinated on the parent body, or we can say plant itself, and then they are dropping directly after germination. So it helps in, we can say that, growth of that particular plant. So it is called as vivipary. All these are, we can say that, adaptations. And yes, this is, we can say that, unique type of ecosystem. Why we are saying that? Because it is called as ecotone. Ecotone region is that particular region that is a kind of transition or zone of junction. Transition, or we can say that, zone of junction between two different ecosystems. In this particular case, the mangroves are, we can say that, zone of transition between freshwater ecosystem and marine water ecosystem. Okay, so that's why it is estuarine body, we can say, or we can say that it is having brackish water ecosystem. Now the significance of mangroves, we can expect question like this. So important one, first, coastal protection. Yes, naturally it is acting as a barrier. Okay, barrier for what? Yes, storm surges, strong cyclones, as well as tsunami waves. Okay, tsunami waves, it is important, we can say that it protects from the erosion also, coastal erosion. Coastal erosion, there was question on mains examination, coastal erosion. So that's why mangroves conservation is important. Wave energy is, we can say that, reduced because of that. So harmful erosion will be stopped. Then biodiversity, that particular area highly productive, we can say that, ecotone region support birds, reptiles, and maintain rich ecological diversity. Livelihood security for local people, fisheries, shrimp farming, we can say that, especially Sundarbans in India, mangrove forest. Okay, provide resources like honey, fuel, timber, fodder, sustain local communities. Then important from the environment perspective, climate change, important blue carbon sink, large amount of carbon in biomass and sediment help mitigate climate change. So we can say important aspect of climate change actions. And marine nursery, yes, already we talked about that, fish, shrimp, and support marine food webs. Along with that, it acts as a natural filter. We can say that they are become important, we can say kidneys of the world, along with wetlands, trap sediments, pollutants and nutrients, improve water quality. This is the way significance you should talk about that mangroves. Now, how oil spill is damaging mangroves in this particular case also. So, two ways. First, we can say that it is covering the pneumatophores, or we can say that the roots which are helpful for gaseous exchange. And that is, we can say, like choking the mangroves. First thing. Second thing is that overall we can say that food chain of that particular area is going to get affected. Look at this. The physical and physiological damage. Oil coats the roots, pneumatophores, blocks oxygen exchange. And second, we can say that sediment contamination, anoxic condition, damage to the benthic organisms, disrupt marine food chain. These two aspects you should remember. The cleanup challenges are also there in mangrove areas, because large, we can say that heavy machinery can damage physically these roots of the mangroves. Manual cleaning can be slow, labor intensive, and we can say difficult in mangrove ecosystem. And that's why oil spill should be prevented. Precautionary measures or preventive measures are very important in oil spill. Now, dealing with the manual cleaning, or we can say that oil spill cleaning, you should know that bioremediation is very effective. Okay, bioremediation techniques are very, we can say that effective. You should know bioremediation techniques. In situ techniques are also there. Ex situ techniques are also there. Okay, ex situ. In situ techniques will include, we can say that bio augmentation, biosparging, and ex situ we can say that biofarming, biopiles. So these are, we can say, in basics we learn about these techniques. Basically all these are helping using, we can say that bio, that means microorganism, to break down that oil affected or pollutant affected soil contents, or we can say that water content organisms. Okay, second, we can say that this was asked in prelims, oil zapper can be used for oil spills. Okay, again it is a kind of mixture of microorganisms that is spread on the oil spill affected area, oil zapper. So it is new technological measures, we can say that, biotechnology and all. Then overall mangrove conservation in India, where are the mangrove forest in India? Overall, if you talk about the area wise, 0.15% of India's total geographical area is covered by mangrove forest. Largest one, we can say that Sundarban forest in India, West Bengal, world's largest continuous mangrove forest. Second, we can talk about is India's second largest is Bhitarkanika in Odisha, and then we can say Godavari Krishna Delta in Andhra Pradesh. Fourth, Gulf of Kutch, Gujarat, and Andaman Nicobar Islands. We can say that these are the, then in some Tamil Nadu, Pichavaram and mangroves are there. So that we can say that additional aspect. Now, important initiatives. At national level, if we talk about important initiative launched, Mishti scheme, mangrove initiative for shoreline habitats and tangible incomes. It was announced in, we can say, Union Budget 2023-24, and let's focus is mangrove plantation and restoration along coastlines and salt flats. Here the community participation is important. Why? Because we can say that communities, their livelihood is dependent on it, and that's why we can say they are involved. Along with that, it is a convergence of schemes like MG Narega, now VGB Ramchi. So that particular scheme is also used here in that Mishti scheme. Then at international level, Mangrove Alliance for Climate, we can say that this particular initiative internationally promoting mangroves as a nature-based solution for climate change. Blue carbon initiative is also there, especially because this is, we can say that it is a blue carbon sink, right? So along with wetlands, seagrasses, mangroves are also, we can say that, conserved under that particular initiative. This was the second topic. Now third topic, elephant corridors. Supreme Court has directed the central government to carry out nationwide, we can say, protection of elephant corridors. Now that particular directive is especially focused on protecting elephant corridors. There is a difference between elephant corridors and elephant reserves. Let's try to understand what is that difference also, and along with that, from prelims perspective, how many number of elephant corridors are there, elephant reserves are there, how that protection happens in India. Let's see first of all what is that particular directive. Union government will carry out fresh nationwide survey, identify the walls, trenches and other physical barriers for movement of elephants across that elephant reserves along the elephant corridors. So they are not state specific, and crop damage and human elephant conflict cannot justify blocking migration routes, and survey reports to be submitted within 8 weeks. This is the way we can say that Supreme Court has directed the states. Now there are, we can say that, different kinds of elephant corridors and elephant reserves. First of all, what is elephant corridor? Narrow or linear strip of habitat connecting two or more larger elephant habitats. Basically, elephant reserves are connected through elephant corridors in India. So habitat A, habitat B and corridor. So you should know that elephant as an element, Asian elephants, they are continuously on the move in search of water and food, and they move from one place to other place, and they are very intelligent animals because they remember the routes throughout their lifetime. Now in between that, we are basically constructing roads, highways and different kinds of, we can say that, infrastructure projects are there, human habitations are there and agricultural fields. So in that route particularly, they are acting as a brake for their movement, and because of that there are human elephant conflicts happening, and the elephants are raiding the agriculture fields and all these things are happening. So it is not only the loss of human life and, we can say, agricultural crops and income of farmers, but also we can say that the life of elephants is also threatened. So this is the way. Why important? All these elephant corridors are important because yes, it is part of the overall habitat of elephants. Habitat connectivity will result into movement and dispersal of elephants. That will promote variations, gene flow, genetically viable population will be created, and long-term survival of elephants will be there. Now when the elephant corridors are broken because of human activities, it will result into isolated habitats. It is resulting into habitat fragmentation. So because of that, what happens is the population of elephants is restricted in certain area, there will be inbreeding, and because of that the disease spread and lack of variations among the, we can say that, genetic variations among the elephant population, that result into that threatens the long-term survival of elephants. Okay, now elephant corridors in India, latest assessment says that 150 corridors, earlier 88 were the four prominent, we can say that, elephant landscapes in India. They are Western Ghats, Northeastern Hills and Brahmaputra floodplains, Assam, that region, Shivalik Hills and Gangetic Plains, mostly we can say that Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh, that particular region, Tarai belt, we can say that, Central India and Eastern Indian states, Odisha, West Bengal and that region. Okay, so elephant reserve is, we can say, broader landscape for elephant conservation, elephant reserves jisko hum bolte hain. And if you talk about the regional distribution, most of the elephant corridors, they are in eastern central India. Okay, eastern central India, this particular region we can say that. Okay, so that information is important for prelims perspective. Now in terms of why they are important, elephant corridor, already we have just now covered that. Yes, broadly we have covered this particular aspect. Now what are the problems? Problem, human activities. What are human activities? Highways, railways, mining and canals, we can say power infrastructure, power lines, human settlements, agriculture expansion. Now all these human activities are creating pressure on elephant habitats. Okay, so it is resulting into corridor fragmentation, restricted movement and elephants entering into human landscape, crop raiding, property damage, human casualties. Ultimately that particular conflict is problem for both human as well as elephants. You can see here forest, two habitats, in between road, railways, canals, other linear infrastructure like power lines. So it is creating problem for their movements. Now elephant mortality, important causes in India, electrocution. Okay, especially we can say that such kind of the barbed wires are there by the farmers around that agriculture fields, crop fields, and because of that what is happening, they are getting electrocuted. Then we can say train accidents, especially Odisha Balasore incident, if you remember, and let's say that West Bengal, Assam, there also we can say train accidents happen. Poisoning especially by the farmers, villagers, then retaliatory killing by the villagers because they are raiding their farmlands, they are facing losses. Then key impact, disrupted movement and migration, reduced access to food, water, and we can say the mating purpose for the elephants, genetic isolation of population, and increased conflict and economic loss. This is the way, the importance of protecting elephant corridors and elephant habitats. Now, what should be answer to this question? Yes, consider the following statement regarding Asian elephants and its conservation in India. Asian elephants, this should be actually numbering, okay, by mistake this has happened. Right, the Asian elephants is classified as endangered on IUCN red list, this is correct. Included in the appendix 1 of the CITES, yes, that is true, convention on let's say international trade in endangered species. Project Elephant was launched in 1992, yes, that is also true. The basic knowledge about prelims you should know. The recent Supreme Court direction permits states to block traditional elephant corridors where substantial crop damage has been demonstrated. This is incorrect. This is not directed. Rather, the Supreme Court has said that this cannot be the criteria to block the elephant corridors. Okay, so it's opposite. 1, 2, 3 is correct. Only 3. That is, we can say that C is the correct answer here. C is the correct answer. Now, next topic is related to Green India Mission. Yes, Green India Mission, you know the basics. It is one of the 8 NAPCC, National Action Plan for Climate Change. 8 missions launched under it. Now, why it is in news? Recently, CAG has, let's say, flagged the major implementation lapses, gaps in implementation of Green India Mission. What are these? Important one, yes, forest quality improvement, there is lapse of 91% shortfall is there, and increased forest cover 97% shortfall. Okay, so yes, it is very important in, let's say, achieving the climate change actions, because we are going to create additional carbon sink of around 3 to 3.5 million tons of, we can say that, through carbon equivalent, let's say, carbon sink. And if such kind of, let's say, gaps are there, then how we are going to achieve that? Yes, Green India Mission, the basics idea was conceived in 2010, it was launched in 2014. Of course, the nodal ministry is Ministry of Environment, and it is part of National Action Plan on Climate Change, 8 national missions. Okay. Now, the major objective is increasing forest cover or tree cover up, let's say, 5 million hectares, and improving the quality of existing forest cover up to 5 million hectares. This is the way. Also, it aims to strengthen biodiversity, ecosystem services, carbon sequestration, and forest based livelihood, we can say that, for the forest people, or we can say forest dwellers. Now, what are the findings? Additionally, we can say that, yes, just now we talked about that forest quality improvement and forest cover, there is gaps, lack of convergence, poor integration with CAMPA. What is CAMPA? Yes, compensatory afforestation management, or we can say that protection authority. What is that? That is related to divergence of forest land to non-forest purposes, and if that is being allowed under Forest Conservation Act 1980, we can say that there should be some kind of penalty and compensation should be given by the private sector for afforestation purpose, and that will be used for afforestation in other different areas. Now, for that, CAMPA authority is created. Now, this is legal authority under 2016 law. MG Narega now replaced by VB Ramji, and Nagar One Yojana. So it was supposed to be converged. The lack of convergence is there. Funding constraints. Okay, so only we can say that 47.88% of funding is received for, we can say that, afforestation purpose. Weak financial controls are there. 8 states and unitaries annual accounts not maintained. Other accounts are unaudited. Transparency deficit, 14 states prescribe public web links are not provided. Weak carbon assessment, only Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh assessed carbon sequestration during 2015 to 2025, last 10 years. And poor climate prioritization. This is the way we can say that findings of CAG report are there. You can use that because GS3 paper we can expect question related to forest conservation. Now, India's climate commitments are there. I told you 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent. So billion tons, sorry, earlier मैंने million tons बोला, billion tons, and now this is updated for 20 updated NDCs of India 2031 to 35. This has been updated at 3 to 3.5 billion tons. Okay, 3 to 3.5. So this much we have to increase the, but there are gaps, we can say that. Yes, climate role is there. forest restoration, biomass, soil carbon, we can say that. Then carbon sequestration, additional carbon sink, and India's NDCs. This is the way we have to, let's say, talk about long-term low carbon development strategy we have adopted in 2022 identifies GIM as key program supporting India's NDC target. Now, whatever the gaps are there, these gaps are creating problem. Now, the static from the prelims perspective, yes, as a part of NAPCC 8 national mission, this Green India mission, along with that other missions are there, 8 missions, National Solar Mission, National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency, National Mission for Sustainable Habitat, National Water Mission is there, National Mission for Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem, then this one, Green India Mission, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Now this year mains examination GS1 paper, there was one question, GS1 paper, okay, what was that? Climate resilient agriculture. Climate resilient agriculture, here you mentioned this particular National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture ensures this one, we can say soil health card scheme is there, or natural farming, jo hai jaivik paddhati or organic farming, all this is promoted under this mission. And lastly, National Mission for Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. This is the way you should know interdisciplinary. Environment subject is interdisciplinary. GS1 geography is there. In GS3 itself, we can say that in economy, agriculture part is there, agroecology is there, science and technology, biotechnology, overlapping is there, EVs, electric vehicles and all these things. And then along with that, in disaster management also it is overlapping environment part. So although दो ही क्वेश्चन पूछे थे इस बार, but overlapping aspect बहुत ज्यादा है, ठीक है, तो आपको जो भी नॉलेज आप ले रहे हैं तो आप अलग अलग वे से उसको यूज करना है. Then CAMPA, I told you, Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act 2016 provides for this particular statutory authority manages compensatory afforestation funds arising from diversion of forest land to non-forest purpose. Already we talked about that. And then forest policy, yes, National Forest Policy 1988 will say that 33% of geographical area should be under forest cover. At present, how much it is? Around 25%. And we have to increase that to 33%. Then Forest Survey of India under MOFC publishes India's State of Forest Report. It is, we can say that biannual. 2 साल में एक बार ये report आता है Forest Survey of India. Right. So 2025 में आया था, now 2027 में आएगा that particular report. Okay. Now way forward from plantations to ecological outcomes. Yes, what should be the way forward to deal this particular issue? Yes, there should be convergence properly with CAMPA, MG Narega, now VB Ramji and other, pool funds, labor and expertise so that it is effective. Outcome based monitoring should be there. Then GIS based monitoring should be there, use of technology, GIS, we can say that, remote sensing. And then we can say climate vulnerability prioritization should be there, highly vulnerable landscape वहाँ पे पहले implement होना चाहिए. Financial accountability should be there, community participation should be there, scientific carbon accounting should be there, and we can say that scientific and ecological focus, native species, assisted natural regeneration, all these things. So this is the way we can talk as a way forward here. Then last topic we can say that it was in news, yes, why India's first grassland guide was, we can say, announced where at UNCCD COP17 Ulaanbaatar Mongolia. वहाँ पे हमने announce किया हुआ है. A guide to grasslands and other open natural ecosystems, ONE1, open natural ecosystems of India. Let's talk about that. We can say what is let's say this particular guide is that old perspective was there, wetlands and degraded lands as a part of ONE, new approach, distinct natural ecosystems, and they are helpful for what purpose? Let's talk about them one by one. Okay, first of all, what are open natural ecosystems? Once, yes. So yes, grasslands, terrestrial ecosystems dominated by grasses, sedges and forbs with the little or no tree canopy. Yes, they are maintained by climate, helpful in grazing, natural fire regimes. So for grasslands, fire resistant, and fire is important quality, we can say that, feature of grasslands. Now these open natural ecosystems include naturally open landscapes like grasslands, savanna shrublands, hot and cold deserts, ravine badlands, rocky plateaus, alpine meadows also, saline wetlands, coastal open ecosystems. So they are, we can say, mostly nowadays categorized as wetlands, but new approach is required for them to be brought under, we can say that, climate change actions also. In India, example like Thar desert is there, we can say Ladakh, Spiti Valley, cold desert, Banni grasslands in Gujarat, Chambal in MP, Bughyals of, we can say, Himachal Pradesh, higher alpine grasslands, Deccan savannas, we can say that as a part of rain shadow regions of Western Ghats. There we have Deccan savannas. So let's see where they are in India. These are, we can say that, distribution: Himalayas, alpine meadows. Then Tarai floodplains, grasslands are there. Rajasthan Thar desert is there. Gujarat Banni grassland. Savannas of Deccan. Then we can say that ravines of central India, rocky plateaus of peninsular India, dunes, coastal areas, we can say that. And they are supporting wildlife, we can say variety of wildlife in India. So in India, different types of open grasslands and this particular ecosystems, open nature, natural ecosystems. Why grasslands matters? We can say that biodiversity wise very important. Many grassland species can't survive in forest. Habitat for, we can say, specialized. Why? Because grasslands are again ecotones. Ecotones between what? Transition area between forest and deserts. Desert ecosystem. Forest ecosystem and desert ecosystem. Important for carbon sequestrations, right? Yes, they store significant carbon in soil and roots. Soil is very rich profile is there in grasslands. Then livelihoods, support pastoralism, grazing, fodder, livestock and communities like Maldharis in Banni grassland, Gujars, Bakarwals. We can say that in alpine meadows they practice transhumans. Hydrological functions, water filtration, groundwater recharge, regulate soil moisture, especially soil conservation, right? Soil erosion prevent kar dega ye by wind and water. Then climate resilience, strengthen resilience against the drought, desertification. The extension of desert can be protected. We can say that Banni grasslands are very important. Thar desert, yes, that's why we can say under UNCCD, United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. We will talk about that from prelims. Yes, why Indian grasslands are under threat? What kind of threats we are facing? Yes, policy blindness, open land, waste land and available for conservation. This we can say that we are not focusing. Major threats, misclassification as wastelands. Okay, this particular grasslands and all these are classified under revenue classification. We can say that revenue department. Afforestation and tree plantation is not, we can say that, happening properly. Agriculture expansion is there. And infrastructure and urbanization, renewable energy projects are implemented on wastelands. Invasive species are creating problems, especially in Banni grassland. If you can take case study, there Prosopis juliflora. Prosopis juliflora. This was asked in prelims twice. Okay. Prosopis juliflora. This is problematic, takes up a lot of water and it has displaced Banni grasslands, indigenous native species. Then disruption of grazing and natural fire regime and biodiversity loss, soil degradation, erosion, pastoral livelihoods at risk. This is the way we should talk about, we can say that problems we are facing or grasslands are facing in India. Then we can talk about about the basics of UNCCD and all. Grassland guide, this key features of grassland guide that was announced here, Ulaanbaatar COP 17 of UNCCD. Nationwide ecological mapping will be carried out, satellite remote sensing will be used, then fire ecology will be understood, carbon sequestration will be ensured through conservation of these ecosystems, pastoralism and mobility of, we can say, for grazing, livestock, all this will be ensured. Community knowledge, traditional management systems like orans, gauchars, they are like part of, we can say, traditional grasslands used as a pastures. Science-based restoration, ecology and biodiversity, decision support, especially through effective policy making. Collaboration efforts, A3, IUCN, all these are, we can say that, think tanks and we can say that non-profit organizations and we can say scientific organizations, collaboration will be done. Now regarding UNCCD, yes, UNCCD as a part of, we can say that, Rio summit and the negotiations that were done in 1992 under Rio summit, thereafter it was opened for signing in 1994 and entered into force in 1996. It is legally binding. India is also party to it. Okay, legally binding and India is party to it. Yes, to link environment development, sustainable land management, it is focusing on combating desertification. So here land degradation, neutrality concept is there. Degradation is balanced restoration. Maintain the quantity and quality of healthy, productive and land through avoidance. reduction and restoration. We can say that India's commitment restoring 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. This is the way we will achieve land degradation neutrality. So how we are going to do that way forward? Recognize grassland as distinct ecosystem. Stop wetland misclassification of grassland. Consider them as an important ecosystem. Prioritize its conservation. National inventory will create with the help of GIS techniques and all. Avoid indiscriminate tree plantation on the grasslands that will, let's say, affect their grassland ecosystem. Restore native grassland ecosystem, we can say that. Protect grassland dependent species. Recognize pastoral and community stewardship. Integrate soil carbon into climate policy. EIA, stringent EIA for major grassland diversion. We are not focusing on that at present. Okay, so environment impact assessment, EIA. This is the way we should talk about conservation of grasslands. So these are the 5 important topics from the last 1 week, and we are basically discussing for all subjects. So if you want to get access to all that quality resources that you are going to, we can say, use in your mains and prelims examination from the current developments, we know that there are a lot of, we can say, current affairs related videos, but focusing on to the point and quality, we can say that, especially relating that what kind of question that has been asked on this topic and what can be asked in the future. This is the way it is done at Legacy IAS platform, and that's why you should subscribe to our channel and follow these sessions on day-to-day basis. Thank you.